Coming to you from the Big Island of Hawaii, it's the Songs and Stories Podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Aloha, I'm Steve Roby. Welcome to the Songs and Stories Podcast. It's a weekly show where we interview the Big Island's talented musicians and check out their music. On today's episode, I'm very honored to have Elizabeth Sekona Robinson. Welcome to the show. Aloha, Elizabeth.
Hello. Thank you for having me, Steve. Yeah,
it's a pleasure to have you on the show. I've seen you at all these various shows that we're going to play in today's episode. So it's a great opportunity to talk to you over the phone.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I like to start out each show with a look back at a musician's early influences and how they got started with music. What was it like for you?
First started playing the violin when I was 7. I didn't want to really play it, but my mom, she got me started. I had 2 brothers that played before me, and so she just wanted me to learn an instrument, and she loved the violin, so she chose that for me. And she took me to take lessons, private lessons in Kona from Ursula Vietze-Koehler. She's the concert master of the Kamuela Philharmonic, and I started with her back when I was 7, and I took from her for about 8 years, just private lessons, classical music, and then about after 8 years, I just started to get more involved with community things like the Philharmonic, the Kamuela Philharmonic. I got to be a part of that, and I got to high school. I went to Honolulu High School, and that's where I met Mr. Washburn, and he became my jazz band teacher. He's taught me a lot. He's been a big influence in my musical career for sure. Like, he's taught me everything I know about improv and just music theory, and he helped me really branch out into different fields of music. It helped me really experiment and just help me find my own creativity in music and not just being so strict with classical, you know. So he's been a big influence ever since, and I'm still working with him. So after high school, I went to UH, and that's where I joined the Hilo Jazz Orchestra down there. And Trevor, the professor, he's got that same mindset, just being super open and letting you create your own music and just helping you develop as your own musician and find your own sound, really. So I've had a lot of open-minded teachers, really helpful, and I really love that.
That's great. Why did you pick the violin over any other instrument?
Oh, I really did not want to play the violin. When I was little, my mom forced me to.
What was your first choice?
My first choice? If I had a choice, I probably wouldn't have done an instrument. I was just very shy and reserved and I didn't really care to do music, but I'm so glad that my mom forced me to do it now. Like, now I look back, I'm like, oh, thank you, Mom, so much for making me stick with it and have to grow in it. So, yeah, it's been a big part of my life, and definitely thanks to my mom.
The electric violin is really kind of a fierce instrument, especially the way you play it.
It's been very fun getting to learn it. It's so completely different from an acoustic violin and playing classical. Like, there's so much more sound within the instrument that I feel isn't really explored as much. People kind of just put it into this bubble of classical music or just doing pop covers and such. And I really like to play with different tonalities and try to see what I can get out of the violin experiment.
Have you seen some of the contemporary young violin players like Lindsay Sterling?
Yes, I have.
She's pretty amazing.
Yeah, she's pretty amazing. She called her dance, yeah.
Saw her in concert, and she doesn't stay still and just floats around that stage. Amazing. Yeah. Well, you brought up Gary Washburn earlier, and you took his music class. I had him on the show recently. A great guy, and such a legend here on the Big Island. He must have been a great influence on you because you've gigged with him at the Redwater Cafe, and you've recorded an upcoming album with him. Would you like to talk about the album? And we'll play one of the tracks from it, called Lavender.
Like I said, he's super creative man. His music is just always, it blows my mind, just how creative he is and how he can just write any type of genre, and it's different. It's so different, the things he creates, and it's really inspiring. So it's been an honor to be able to work with him for this long and have him be my teacher. And so we've been playing at Redwater. Like you said, we play every Thursday night. and mostly just jazz standards, and then whatever he writes. He likes to write songs for the violin. I think I'm the first violin student he ever had, so he's just like, ooh, a new sound to play with. So he's created this whole album just focused on the sound of the violin. It's just, there's quite a variety. He's got some reggae on there. He wrote a funk tune. He wrote like this country song. He's got smooth jazz, got upbeat jazz. Just quite a large, just a variety of different tunes that really just shows.
Is it just the two of you?
How creative he is.
Is it just the two of you playing on it, or are there other musicians as well?
There is also, so it's him on piano, me on violin, and then he has drums on all the tracks, or most of the tracks as well. And then he's also got bass on most of them, not all of them. But so I think it's just those four instruments.
Where was it recorded?
And then it was recorded, we did it down Kauai High Side at Carl Kasberg's house. He's got a nice studio down there, so we recorded it all through there. It's been probably about a year now, and we finally just wrapped it up a couple weeks ago.
The title of the album is called Lavender, and we're going to play the title track, Lavender, coming up in a few seconds here. Can you tell me what the inspiration was for Lavender, or what it's about?
Where it originated from was we were just playing at Redwater, and I was talking about getting some new songs. Getting tired of playing the same old songs. So I was like, oh, you should write a reggae song. And then next week he hands me Lavender. It's a reggae tune, like a light reggae tune that he thought of. And he was looking at I believe, just outside his window, and there's a lavender plant. And so Lavender, it's literally trying to like encapsulate what he thinks lavender sounds like.
Wow. Visually.
In reggae form, so it's pretty cool.
Well, let's give it a listen to now. Here's Lavender with Elizabeth Sekona Robinson and Gary Washburn here on Songs and Stories.
Hey, Big Island music fans. Would you like to be part of the podcast? If you go to our website, bigislandmusic.net, you can record a comment about the show or tell us about a musician you'd like to see interviewed. Just click on the microphone icon and start recording. Don't forget to tell us where you're located. Your comments might be included in a future podcast. So head over to bigislandmusic.net. We'd love to hear from you.
Hey there, this is Chris Stark, and you're listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Do me a favor and check out my website, chrisstark.com, where you can sign up to my newsletter, find links to my social media, and pick up my latest album on CD or digital download. Have an awesome day. Aloha.
And we're back on Songs and Stories with my special guest today, Elizabeth Sekona Robinson. Is it okay if I call you Liz?
Yep.
Okay,
sure.
Liz. Tell me about your work with the Kamuela Philharmonic Orchestra. How did you get involved with them, and what position do you play?
First, joined the Philharmonic when I was 13. I was actually part of the HPA high school. They had a community / high school based orchestra that was led by Madeline. So she was the current conductor of the Philharmonic. And so I just joined. I would go there like once a week, and we would have rehearsals, and it was just fun. And she just asked me if I would want to play in the Philharmonic, and I was like, shoot. So she sent me music, and I just joined. Yeah, so I was 13 when I joined the Philharmonic, and I've just kind of been part of it ever since. Started in second violins and was there for a lot of years. Mm-hmm. And then I took a break for a while. I wasn't part of the Philharmonic for a little while, and I joined again probably like 2 years ago. And now it's under Brian Dolinger. He's the current conductor. Mm-hmm.
It's amazing to me to think that this island that we live on has a orchestra that size and that capacity and that quality too. You don't often get to see an orchestra on an island that plays with that caliber that you guys do. Didn't the pandemic, I believe back in March, you guys were about ready to play the season finale, a concert called, I think, Literature Comes to Life. That must have been disappointing to have that canceled.
Yeah, for sure. Like that was the one I believe all of us musicians in the Philharmonic were looking forward to the most. We had a lot of great repertoire lined up, and it was hard. We were doing probably the hardest song we were having to prepare was Romeo and Juliet. And so a lot of hours went into preparing for that, and everyone was really excited. It was going to be a lot of fun for sure. And then, this whole pandemic thing happened and it got shut down.
Did that affect any of your other music plans?
Oh yeah, it affected everything. The Philharmonic, the jazz orchestra with Trevor at the university, Redwater Cafe, my students, just everything
came to a stop. Yeah, that's a shame. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So and who knows what 2021 will be like if large concerts are able to resume. I've seen some things online where they have limited orchestras. The orchestra is spread out far enough away from each other. And there was even one concert, I believe, overseas where they didn't have an audience and the seats were filled with trees. So they were experimenting with different options with trees, and they blew fans on the tree, little small trees, and they blew fans on them to represent what an audience might look like. I don't know. Things are getting strange.
That's for sure.
Well, anyway, I pulled out a KPO track, the Kamuela Philharmonic Orchestra track, from my archives. It's a great recording. It's from January of 2020. It's called The Four Seasons, a Violin Concerto. What can you tell me about this piece?
It's a staple piece for all classical people. Like, everybody knows it to some degree, whether they know the name or not. It
struck me when I pulled up the track. I thought, here's one with a violin concerto. So I'm sure you're featured on that track.
This is from 2020, yeah. So I was playing first violin for that.
Okay.
There were I had done they do an annual concerto youth competition. And so I had participated in that for 2 years. My freshman year when I was 14 was the first time I did it. And my second year was my senior year. And so that was a lot of fun. That definitely taught me a lot about performance, and just because you have to memorize like this whole concerto and just try to play as perfectly as you can. So there's a lot of pressure, right? Like just the classical music in general, but having to do a competition like that taught me a lot for sure. And it was so fun to be able to participate in that with like all these other kids that would fly in from the other islands, and then just meet other youth that are into the same things I'm into. And it's a lot of fun, and to perform with the whole orchestra behind you is just a surreal experience.
I know I was at that show, just these young kids, and they're just, they're very talented. What an experience. Yeah. Well, let's give a listen to the Four Seasons, a violin concerto, here on Songs and Stories.
Hey, what's good, everyone? This is Sekona, and you're listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Hey, please follow me and subscribe to my new YouTube channel at Sekona, and also check out my new CD, Lo-Fi Grits, as well as other productions that I've done at jazztheproducer.com. As one Z, peace.
Did you know that you can also find Songs and Stories episodes on our website, bigislandmusic.net? The online magazine has been covering the music scene since 2017, and there's lots of great content, including interviews, reviews, and video performances too. Head over to bigislandmusic.net to find out more.
Prepare yourself. Okay, let's go.
And we're back on Songs and Stories with Elizabeth Sekona Robinson, and we're going to get into an unusual segment. I never get a chance to play Frank Zappa's music on Songs and Stories, but since you were involved with the UH Hilo Jazz Orchestra and their annual tributes to Frank Zappa, this one I think is Zappa 7. I did a documentary on Trevor's class at UH Hilo. Sitting through that class, even though filming it and the guest musicians that he brings in that had worked with Frank Zappa. This particular year, he had Frank's son, Dweezil, come and work with you guys. What was that experience like?
We were all very excited about that. I remember when Trevor had first told us, we were just like, what? He's coming to Hilo, Hawaii to play with us? Like, we felt so honored, right? Because we've been doing this, you say number 7, like Trevor's been doing this a long time, and it's been so fun playing with this band. Like, I've never had so much fun with any band or group before. Like, this is for sure like a highlight of my musical career, is to play with them. And then when Dweezil came, we were really excited for that. Everybody like definitely stepping up their practice game. When he came, we all just were like absorbing, like, please teach us, show us your ways.
He said, did he sit down with you guys and do kind of a master class of how Frank...
he had done that with... he did a guitar master class, and he sat down with all the guitarists in the class and just talked and shared some great advice, and it was everybody. Like, there was one song in particular I remember called Pound for Her Brown that we had played, and Trevor had decided that he was going to give us... It was the hardest song we were playing that semester, and he gave it to us like 2 or 3 weeks before the concert. He's like, can you guys learn this? Well, so we're like, okay, so we'll practice, and we did our very best, and I was proud of us. But I remember we got to the final dress rehearsal, and Dweezil was there, and we were just doing sound checks, and we played that song, and I just remember Dweezil being like, this one's hard for you guys, isn't it? And he just called us out. We're like, darn, we thought we might impress you.
Well, it's explain complicated. It has different time signatures, right?
Yeah, all different time signatures, the key signatures. You can't even really pay attention to key signature because it doesn't really help you, because there's so many accidental sharps, flashes all over the place. And lots of fun to play.
There was another song from, I think maybe the year before, a Zappa song called 15. And it's at a weird time signature too. So Trevor really gives you guys some challenges, huh?
Yeah, I remember when I first joined the band, I was like, what is this? It was weird. It's different, right? You don't hear that type of music. And at first I was uncertain about it, but I really grown to love that music. It's really it's super, it just opens up your mind.
Well, the track I'm going to play here in a couple minutes is called Willie the Pimp. And did you listen to the original recording? I think it's Don Sugarcane Harris on violin there.
I've listened to it a lot over the years. We've performed it several years in a row, and it's a lot of fun. It's like one of the few violin feature songs that Zappa has. And it's just a simple riff. It's just, in A minor, but it's so much fun. And it just has such a good groove, and it's a jammable tune.
And I think, if I recall correctly, that you and Trevor kind of go toe-to-toe with each other and trade off solos in this song?
Yep.
So listen to that segment there. I think it comes in the middle there. Before I let you go, got a couple more questions for you. Where can the folks find your upcoming album with Gary Washburn? Are you going to have it available online or stream it? Or?
Yeah, so we're planning hopefully to get it up online. Not quite sure yet exactly for what platforms we're going to be using. Still in the process of doing that, but we're for sure going to have CDs that are going to be coming out that you can purchase. And yeah, hopefully online through like iTunes and Spotify.
Okay. I'll put some links in the show description below so folks can find it and pick it up and listen to it, enjoy it. Is there anything else you'd like to add before we go?
Not really.
Okay. I guess we covered everything. Well, thank you so much for being a guest on Songs and Story, Elizabeth. And I do hope one day soon that we get to see each other face to face again.
Yes, that would be nice.
Okay. Aloha.
Thank you.
All right. Here's the UH Hilo Jazz Orchestra's version of Willie the Pimp here on Songs and Stories.
Little pimp with my hair gas back, pair of khaki pants and my shoes shine black. Got a little lady who walk that street, telling all the boys that she can't be. $20 bill, I can set you straight. Meet me around the corner, boy, and don't. A suit with a gold tie neck, wanna buy a grunt with a third-party jet. Standing on the porch of the Lido Hotel, cruising in the lobby, look the way I sell hot meat, hot rats, hot gas, hot tits, hot suits, hot sex.
Thanks for listening to the Songs and Stories podcast. Make sure you never miss a show by clicking the subscribe button now. This podcast is made possible by listeners like you. Thank you for your support. We'll see you next week on Songs and Stories. Aloha.